All You Need to Know, the Bloomberg Quint podcast that prepares you for the day's business.
Good morning, and thanks for listening in. This is the All You Need to Know podcast, and today's the 5th of May. I'm Alex Matthew. Over the next few minutes, we'll tell you everything that you need to know at the start of your day. Let's start with the usual update on the virus that's kept most of us locked down. The total number of confirmed COVID-19 cases in India climbed closer to the 43,000 mark on Monday, even as the government eased restrictions in some areas. There were 2,573 new cases yesterday, taking the total tally to 42,836, according to the Health Ministry's 5 p.m. update. Maharashtra, which is the state, as you know, with the highest number of COVID-19 cases, allowed liquor shops to open even in red zones outside the containment areas or parts that are sealed because of high number of infected people, according to a tweet by Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray. That came after the Ministry of Home Affairs initially said that liquor and pan shops will be allowed to function only in green zones, and it later clarified that these products can be sold in green and orange zones across the nation and red zones of rural areas. States have been pushing for reopening liquor stores because it's a key source of revenue. In Surat, television footage showed police using tear gas to control crowds of angry workers who pelted them with stones and demanded to be allowed to go home. Similar protests had erupted in the city earlier during the lockdown. Internationally, Donald Trump has said that some states in the US aren't going fast enough to reopen, even as he acknowledged that the nation's death toll would likely be higher than he had predicted. Trump also accused Beijing of attempting a cover-up and promised a conclusive report on the pandemic's origins. In positive news, scientists have created a monoclonal antibody that can defeat the new coronavirus in the lab, which is an early but promising step. The experimental antibody may help prevent or treat COVID-19 and related diseases either alone or in a drug combination, according to a study published yesterday in the journal Nature Communications. More research is needed, though, to see if the findings are confirmed in a clinical setting, according to the paper. Globally, as of yesterday, cases crossed 35 lakh, leaving over 2.47 lakh dead. Now, you may have heard about this Bloomberg story yesterday, but it bears repeating. India's fiscal deficit for the year ended March 31st has touched 4.4% of GDP, reaching the target set in the budget primarily because the lockdown severely impacted tax collections. A revenue shortfall of 1.7 lakh crore rupees led to the higher deficit number. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman had targeted a 3.8% gap. This is all source-based information that Bloomberg reported, and the Finance Ministry has not commented on it. In a bid to capitalize on the businesses that are moving out of China, India is preparing a huge pool of land to get them to set up base here. A total area of 461,589 hectares has been identified across the country for the purpose. That includes 115,000 hectares of existing industrial land in states such as Gujarat, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh. At present, investors keen on setting up a factory in India need to acquire land on their own, and the process in some cases delays the project as it involves negotiating with small plot owners to part with their holdings. In international markets, oil reversed losses as the pace of stockpile increases at the key US storage hub slowed last week. In fact, WTI crude, which, as you know, had slipped into negative territory not too long back, was at $22 to the barrel last I checked. Brent stood at $28.3 this morning. In international equities, US stocks ended higher And this morning, only the Australian benchmark was trading from out of the three early risers in the Asia-Pacific region, and it was higher by almost 1.5%. With that, it's over to Agam Vakil for the trade setup for the day in India. Good morning, Agam. How are we looking this Tuesday morning?
Good morning, Alex, and good morning, listeners. Well, after the deep cut that we saw in Indian markets yesterday, we're hoping we'd start off on a positive note, and that is exactly what the SGX Nifty is indicating. An advance of a little over 100 points at this point in time. Once again, we start off with earnings as usual, where we have FMCG major Marico announcing a 7% decline in revenue and net profits down 51.4%. Its operating margins, that is EBITDA ones, have expanded to 18.9% by as much as 60 basis points, but India volumes have seen a contraction of 3%. The only reason that we are seeing net profits decline as much is because there was a tax write-back in the base quarter. Do remember the company has said it holds its medium-term aspiration of delivering 8 to 10% volumes growth and 13 to 15% revenue growth, but the near-term conditions are very unpredictable. Moving on, we have Lupin's US arm, which has announced a positive top-line results for its pivotal phase 3 clinical trial to assess efficacy and safety of single-dose Solosec, which is used to cure trichomoniasis, and the company plans to submit the supplemental new drug application for Solosec to the US FDA for the aforementioned treatment in the second half of the calendar year 2020. ICICI Bank will consider raising capital on May 9th. In key bulk deals, we have Scottish Oriental smaller companies which sold 0.5% stake in Healthcare Global Enterprises at 77 rupees per share yesterday. And Nalanda India Equity Fund increased stake in Thermax by 0.83% to a total 5.4% on April 29th. And in a list of companies that have commenced operations partially or completely include Colgate-Palmolive, Apollo Tyres, Seat, Graphite India, and Automotive Axles. Do remember, we will be watching out for earnings from Adani Ports SEZ, among many others, and from the mid-cap IT space, we will have earnings from NIIT Technologies as well as Persistent Systems. These are just some of the stocks that we can watch out for as we move into trade today, but don't forget to go through our morning edition of All You Need to Know only on BloombergQuint.com.
Thanks, Agam. And as always, thank you all for listening in. This is Alex Matthews signing off. Have a great day.
I hope you enjoyed listening to All You Need to Know. Did you know that you could listen to the show on the IVM Podcast app? On the IVM Podcast app, along with this, we have a number of other shows which you think you'll enjoy. Listen to Cyrus Says with Cyrus Brocha as the host. Listen to Paisa Vaisa with Anupam Gupta. The Scene and the Unseen with Amit Verma. Or Shunya One hosted by Shiladitya Mukhopadhyay and myself. Check out the IVM Podcast app to get more talk content that you will enjoy.